affectionately known as Ears.
Beyond Glory, live on stage, starring Stephen Lang. Beyond Glory tells the story of 8 Medal of Honor heroes who served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Stephen Lang, whose film credits include Tombstone and Avatar, brings Beyond Glory to the Ocala Civic Theater stage November 15 through 18. Call 352-236-2274 or buy tickets online at okalacivictheater.com.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's 7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We have in our community one of the most amazing civic theaters for a small town. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the what they are able to bring to that theater, the talent they are able to harvest. I don't know what's a good harvest is a bad word, but the talent from our local area that show up on that stage, the actors, actresses, all the people who make the sets, all that stuff. It's just an amazing place, and I'm a newcomer to it. Really, you've been going there since what, the 70s?
Yep, 73.
Wow. So we have an amazing thing we want to tell you about. Stephen Lang is going to be at the Ocala Civic Theater. He's presenting a show called Beyond Glory. This is a one-man show. It's adapted from a book by Larry Smith, and he actually plays, I think, eight different men on stage, and it covers a couple different wars, right? Korean War, Vietnam War, and World War II, I believe, yes. Right? He's only bringing this to 10 cities. Ocala is one of them. How cool is that? And he's on the phone. Stephen Lang, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Where are you?
Right now I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Oh,
here
nice.
Robin is from Wisconsin.
Yesterday.
I'm sorry?
Excellent. Flew in from Orlando, and we'll be here, and then heading back down south.
Is Orlando your home?
No, sir. We were doing a show over at Palm Coast.
Oh, okay.
We had a crisscross.
Yeah,
kind of a hit-and-run tour, you know?
You certainly are. Well, coincidentally, when you come to Ocala, the theater you'll be playing in is right next to the Appleton Museum.
Well, I might even have an apple today.
So tell me about the play. Let me tell you something first. The veterans community of this town, first of all, is huge. There's like 55,000 veterans right here, and the buzz about your show is so amazing. I just want you to know that you've got a lot of people very happy that you're bringing this to Ocala.
Well, that's good. That's thrilling to me. I'm really looking forward to being there. It's the show has proven over the years that it does have an effect. It has an impact on anybody who loves the theater, but I think it does carry a special meaning for veterans and for active duty service.
Yeah, sure. I think you're probably right. So this covers 3 wars, and it's 8 different men. I want to later on, if I could put this question on hold for a bit, I want to ask you about the talent necessary to create 8 characters from one person. But tell me about the story first. What do we see?
Well, this is a solo performance, 80 minutes, no intermission. And basically, I segue from one character to another, and in the end up embodying 8 different recipients of the Medal of Honor, men who went above and beyond the call of duty and who lived to tell the tale, which, of course, with the Medal of Honor is not always the case.
Right.
When I set out to do this, I wanted to do something that was as diverse and as big a cross-section of America as I possibly could. So I play men from different services, from different wars, different ethnicities, in fact, different colors. And so I play black, I play Japanese American. So it's a real test I set out to do something that I wasn't sure I could do, and every time I do it, it's you just take a deep breath, step out, and take a leap of faith, because it's a hard piece of work to do. And it challenges the audience, it challenges the actor, and so together we go on this very dramatic and I think emotional journey.
You are an accomplished playwright in your own right. Did you write this?
I did indeed. Back in 2003, my buddy Larry Smith gave me an uncorrected copy of a book that was about to be published that he wrote, which was interviews with 27 living Medal of Honor recipients, and I was so taken by this book that I began to deal with it in a dramatic way, trying to turn a piece of journalism into a piece of theater, and it actually kind of wrote itself.
Oh,
as
wow.
far as I could tell.
I'm going to assume that the men you represent are no longer alive, or am I wrong about that?
At the time I wrote it, all 8 were alive. As of our conversation right now, one of them remains alive. Clarence Sasser is still with us. He's in Texas, and but the others have all passed on. I had the opportunity to meet them, not all of them, but they all signed off on it. They were all very aware and supportive of it. But to meet, and actually, I performed. One of the last man I performed is he was the late Daniel Inouye, who had been the senior senator from Hawaii. He was a member of the 442nd, and he received the Medal of Honor for actions in Italy. And on the occasion of his 80th birthday, the Senate Majority and Minority Leader co-sponsored a performance for him at the U.S. Senate. So that was,
well, that's outstanding.
I got to know him.
By representing all of these gentlemen, sir, you had to have different emotions at different times running through your performance.
For sure. It's extremely taxing and very emotional. But my experience is to really modulate. To do my job in as lean and simple a manner as I possibly can, and to really, and the audience, I think, then feels very, very deeply.
Are you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, there's an old saying in the theater that directed towards actors, and they say, "If you cry, they won't." Meaning the audience, and so I really do try to keep my own emotions kind of, reined in to some extent, just to convey the material. But it's deeply emotional material. Yeah.
Do the 8 stories have a similar, not message, but like a similar resonance? That's kind of a crazy word, isn't it? Let me tell you why I'm asking. Let me tell you why. It's a good word. We had in the studio a whole panel of Vietnam veterans, one veterans show we did, and the guy who was hosting that show, he's by the way, he's the head of Vets Helping Vets, which is one of the sponsors of your appearance here. He asked them all to tell a memory from their service in Vietnam. So I'm not a veteran, but I remember, the pictures, the imagery of the Vietnam War, and I remember I was surprised. Each one of the men said nothing about the war. They said, "Oh, I remember the beautiful mornings. It was beautiful. Vietnam was beautiful. They were talking about how beautiful it was, and one guy remembered the family that befriended him and helped him out with his laundry." And it's like, oh wow, they're not remembering the war at all. And meanwhile, I know that for a fact that some of them had been wounded in battle.
Right.
So that's where my question comes from.
It's an interesting observation. What I find is that the event for which any one of these individuals receive the Medal of Honor, that particular event is usually is kind of the pebble in the pond of their life, and it ripples both backwards in time and forwards into their futures. Because what I do up there is I'm not just telling a story of what happened on a particular day in Korea or Vietnam. I'm telling a life story, and you really learn that what they did was really the only reason they did it was because of who they were and how they became who they were. And then after they did it, the rest of their life is very much a product of that, you know?
That's interesting.
And so it goes way beyond the event. Yeah, so there is a commonality, but each story is very, very different, for sure. Sorry.
Go ahead, Stephen. It sounded like we interrupted you there a little bit.
Not at all.
Stephen, does this have? Do you think this will become a movie?
We made a movie out of it about 3 years ago. We started filming it. I began filming it on tour, and we turned it into a film, Beyond Glory, that ended up being executive produced by Jim Cameron of Avatar and Titanic. And the film is available. We actually bring copies of it to the performances as well. Okay. But I'm very, very pleased with the film. Yeah, the film came out really nice.
Your character in Avatar, he even went through some changes emotionally from the beginning, from the bad guy to his gradual transformation at the end. How did that affect you personally?
Well, he got badder and badder.
Yes, he did.
At the end. Yeah, and then, as I recall, he took 2 giant arrows in the chest and died. And then a little while later, Jim Cameron told me, "Well, you're coming back, man. We like him." And so that's what I've been. That's what I'm spending my time doing now. Is when I'm not doing Beyond Glory. Beyond Glory represents a break for me from shooting Avatar right now.
Oh, so there's another Avatar in the works.
2, 3, 4, and 5. We're making 4 more.
Oh my gosh! Well, you're busy for a while. Oh my gosh!
What drew you to what drew you to portray Babe Ruth?
Oh my gosh! That's a long time ago. They offered it to me, and I was thrilled. I said, "Are you sure you want me?" And it was, "Yeah, man, you're the one." And so that was just a very, very challenge. That was incredibly challenging, you know, because either you nail the baby, or you don't. And I worked very hard on that, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, I have an entrepreneurial idea for you. Take that line you just said and put it on a T-shirt. You either nail the babe or you don't.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'll go over very well.
That sounds like a T-shirt to me.
It actually, I believe that that's probably a direct quote from the president. In fact.
Oh, that's too funny. So
that must be where I got it.
So I think so.
Okay, so now what we didn't perceive from the promotion material is that you're pretty funny. So did you incorporate humor into the show?
Yeah, it's very funny. I mean, these guys are salty. They've all got a great sense of humor about themselves, some more than others. But definitely, you can't do. I would never do any theater at all that wasn't laced with good humor and wit, and I think, and I get a lot of laughs in the show. I feel like they're all earned and all honest laughs, but you never know. I'm not above, tripping on a banana peel if I have to.
I just want to ask you something, if I can help at all, because let's see, we had Mark Twain. A Mark Twain impressionist, and he came to town and he had no cigars. Now, I quit smoking cigars, but people keep giving them to me. So I have these. So if you need one, I noticed you have one in the picture. Because Mark Twain needed one of my cigars.
I use an unlit cigar in the picture. If you'd like to If you'd like to donate it, we'll make sure it makes a guest appearance.
You're very active in encouraging others to not only meet their goals, but exceed in their goals and help others by being involved with the Eugene M. Lang Foundation.
For sure. That's a family foundation founded by my dad with, which I said, my father's gone, but the foundation lives on. And we try and do what we can to nurture and create opportunities for that are really based in education and in the arts to really try and make better citizens.
Let me just brag about you a little bit. I'm looking at your credentials. This is for the listener's sake. I know you know this stuff already. Stephen Lang is our guest right now. He's coming to town. He will be at the Ocala Civic Theater putting on his show called Beyond Glory, in which he tells the story of 8 men who were all Medal of Honor recipients, and it covers the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and World War II. I should have said them in order, shouldn't I? We have one Medal of Honor recipient from Ocala. He died in service in the Vietnam War, and we have a school named after him.
Yeah.
His name is Hammett Bowen, by the way.
Well, of course, the medal is presented posthumously fully 70% of the time.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a little story, if I can share it with you. I've dabbled in art, and so years ago on a Veterans Day show, maybe a month before it, I offered to do a portrait of a veteran if people would just write me and suggest one, but I could only do one because, it takes time. So I got one and I did it, but somebody else wrote me and said, can you do one of Hammett Bowen? This is the Medal of Honor recipient. And so I did. When I found out the story, he threw himself on a hand grenade and saved 3 lives.
Yeah.
And died in the process. Yeah. So I did one of him. And then it was presented to him. The same people you're going to meet when you come down here are the people who put on a concert for him, his father, I should say. So the father was given the portrait, and the guy just broke down and cried. It was just the most touching thing. And then later on, when they named a school after his son, he donated that portrait to the school, which is kind of nice. It's still hanging up there.
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah. And I'm not a veteran, so it's kind of an honor for me to do stuff like that, or to even be part of anything that the veterans do. Are you a veteran by chance?
No, I'm not, but I relate to what you're saying because at some point in your life you really do feel a need or a compulsion to be of service, to express something to the men and the women who really put it out there for our nation.
Yeah.
And so, to some extent, my Beyond Glory is not so different from you painting a portrait of Bowen,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's how I look. I think that's how the veterans here are looking at it. You're going to have an audience full of veterans, and I'm sure that you're going to be touching some nerves. Have you had that kind of feedback already?
Oh, yeah, over the years, I've toured it. This is my first tour in 3 years. I've done the play many times, between 400 and 500 times.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to really take some time away from it just to do other things. So it's exciting to be back to it because the play itself is both timeless and timely in my estimation. It never gets old. But I get old.
One of the wonderful things, what you're doing here is that you are constantly making people aware that when people are in the service and they fight for our country, like World War II, those men are heroes because they truly did save our world. But when you speak to the veterans, they're so humble, they don't want to express themselves and they don't think of themselves as heroes. So you're bringing this out in your show, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you asked me a while ago if there was a common thread that ran through these men's lives, and the truth is the thing that really does bind them all together is a very, very, very deep sense of humility. that they it's not that they make light of what they did. They don't by any means, but they do shrug and say, I did what had to be done, and I did it for the guy next to me, and so they did their job. And this kind of deep humility is something, and almost a reticence. But the thing about the Medal of Honor is when you receive the Medal of Honor, it carries a responsibility to talk about it. In a sense, you are expected to be a public hero. And in a way that can run against the grain of many of these fellows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great to get a chance to articulate this for people who may not know these stories, and most people don't know these stories.
You know who is noticeably absent from all the dialogue preceding the election day yesterday were the veterans. There weren't a whole lot of men and women who served our country who said, you know what, this is the person for me. I mean, a lot of people in Hollywood did, a lot of people in radio did, but there weren't a whole lot of, war heroes that actually were given any airtime, I guess. I'm sure they had opinions, but we have it backwards. Yeah. We have it a little bit backwards, don't we?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think for my money, there is many diverse viewpoints and opinions within the military in terms of where you stand politically, as there are in civilian life, and I'm not sure that I certainly don't feel that this administration has been doing everything it needs to be doing for our veterans and for the military. But the same can be said of other administrations as well.
Yeah.
Everybody handles the military with kid gloves. Everybody expresses support. Everybody says the right thing. But not every administration does the right things. I go into VA hospitals, and everybody does the best that they can there. They do a great job there. But you know what? It could be better.
Well said. I think you're right. Well, you will meet some amazing veterans when you come here. I know for a fact that I've heard from so many of them that will be there. You couldn't have a better public relations team than what you have right here. So Beyond Glory is it a week from Friday?
The 15th it starts.
A week from tomorrow, then.
Right, a week from tomorrow. It'll start and run through Sunday the 18th.
I think we're doing 4 shows there, which is great.
Mm-hmm. And you're also going to have some video footage behind you from time to time?
Not in the touring thing. If I go somewhere, we do have some. We have projection, but there's projections, there's sound. It's a full show. So for sure.
All right.
Absolutely. But it's it is the touring version.
It's at the Ocala Civic Theater. Make sure you get your tickets. And Stephen, thank you so much for being on the air with us. Be careful in your travels, and we'll see you in about a week and a day.
Thanks a million for having me on. I'm really looking forward to being there and to meeting all the fine people of Ocala.
Thank you so much, Stephen. It's been an honor. We'll be right back.
Whether you're just starting out in your career or ready to make a change, being a commercial pilot is within your reach. The FAA has predicted that in the next few years, the number of planes in the sky will double, and that means a lot more jobs in aviation.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala.
News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. Democrats win enough seats in the midterm elections to control the House for the first time in 8 years. Republicans, though, expand their majority in the Senate.
In North Dakota, Republican Kevin Kramer unseated Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp. Republican Josh Hawley will be the next senator from Missouri after defeating Democrat Claire McCaskill.
The good Lord and the people of Missouri have given us the victory.
Some races still too close to call. Arizona still needs to decide whether Republican Martha McSally or Democrat Kirsten Sinema will be their first female senator.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. Democrats pick up 7 more state legislatures and governorships. Republican Brian Kemp is ahead in Georgia. The Democrat Stacey Abrams hasn't given up.
But I'm here tonight to tell you